Let's just talk a little bit about what the government is doing in the interim since CMMC has been delayed. To start, could you just explain a little bit what a DIBCAC assessment is and why it's important to the defense contractors?
Yeah, great question, Maddie. And there are a lot of people who hear about assessments being available today, and that is true, but we're not talking about CMMC certificate assessments. As Rick pointed out, there is an organization called DIBCAC, kind of hard to say. It stands for the Defense Industrial Base Cybersecurity Assessment Center. That is an auditing group within the DoD. Is growing pretty rapidly in terms of having professional assessors that are part of the DoD. And in order to help prepare the private sector third-party assessors called the C3PAOs, see if I can get it right, CMMC third-party assessment organizations, I think I got that right. So the C3PAOs are the ones that will actually do CMMC certifications starting in a year or so. But they've got to get prepared. So CMMC assessors, people have been applying to become assessors. They are joining the C3PAO organizations. The C3PAO organizations have to themselves get approved. And part of all of that training and approval is for the government and the private sector assessors to do assessments together. And the reason that they're doing those together is so that the government can be I guess I'll say a role model for how they want these assessments to go. They can demonstrate the assessment techniques and what the correct responses would be, and what to do if there's a finding and such. And they can also observe the C3PAO assessors, the private sector assessors, in their conducting of assessments. So they do these joint assessments. They do it based on the SPUR score. Okay, so we all recognize that SPUR score is a self-assessment score that is submitted to the SPURS database. So let's say out of 110 points, you submit a score of 90, just saying you're doing a good job, you've done a lot of work, and you got a score of 90. Well, that company has submitted that score, can voluntarily raise their hand and say, hey, we would like to be assessed. We volunteer to be assessed by the DIBCAC and the C3PAO assessors to validate our SPURS score. So to validate whether or not we correctly submitted a 90, or should it have been an 85, or could it have been a 95? So they're getting some feedback. That's the benefit, I think, of being a volunteer. Is that you would get some feedback, but boy, you're getting feedback from the A-list auditors. You've got the government in your building and the assessors that are in training, and they're going through, like with a fine-tooth comb, shall we say, turning over every stone, whatever analogy can I use, to ensure that your score is in fact accurate. And they'll write a detailed report and such. And they refer to that, that as a voluntary assessment. It doesn't officially count toward your CMMC certification yet. We've heard it might give you some bonus points or extra credit, or might even allow you to get an initial certification. Not totally sure how all that's going to work out until the rules come out. We won't know for sure. But there are, in fact, last I read, Rick, 38 C3PAOs that are qualified at this point who have worked through this joint assessment with the DIBCAC And I think the number keeps going up. But if you imagine the flood of requests, I don't know if there's going to be a flood, but I think there's going to be a flood of requests when this all goes live. And you have 38 companies trying to certify all of the supply base. That's unrealistic. They're going to need a whole lot more.
Mm-hmm.
And they're trying to get a running start on this. And this is the year for that training and qualification of auditors. That's kind of what it's all about. And it avoids the government from having to do all these audits,
Mm-hmm.
their assessments. They're trying to train private sector assessors to do it. So that's what they're doing this year.
Thank you for watching this video to the end. This is part of a longer series on DFARS, NIST, and CMMC compliance produced by Core Business Solutions. Please subscribe to this channel, like this video with a thumbs up, and click the bell to get notified when we drop a new video. Also, we'd appreciate it if you would share this video with your colleagues who need to stay up to speed on DFARS, NIST, and CMMC. Thank you, and we'll see you again in the next video.